Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning friend and if you're a new one, welcome to you too. It's lovely to have you join me. Today I'm working on the 7th prompt for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Field Notes Journal, and we're now into autumn. And so this is the first page, and the first prompt for autumn is the colours of autumn. And I was reminded of a time when we didn't live in this house. Our previous home had two enormous Japanese maple trees on either side of the driveway. I'm sure the neighbours hated them because they were humongous, and they dropped a gallon of leaves all over the place. We were constantly having to pick them up. But boy, when they were in the throes of autumn colours, they were just stunning. And these were a couple of photos that I took back in 2021. I wish I'd taken more, but, that's all I took. I actually did some eco-dyeing and they came out a bit dark. I would have loved to have used some of the fabrics in this, but I just think they're a bit dark. I'll show you them. So I was reminded of another journal page that I'd made. One day I went for a walk and took some photos. The day that we moved out of that house, the night before, the leaves dumped the driveway till, you just walked, you buried your feet in them. They were so densely. Removalist trucks trying to remove furniture on trolleys, and autumn leaves are stuck all over it, and I'm flapping trying to keep the floors reasonably clean, and anyway, we all coped. But I'd done this page back in 2021 using the eco-dyed fabrics, and as you can see, they're a little bit dark for this project because I wanted these brighter colours. And I've made myself a little pocket to put the photos in. And how nice to keep some things. I printed those photos that I just showed you on the phone, and I just did some random stitching around here, nothing really intentional other than putting a bit of texture on it. But I wrote this little poem. I went for a walk, shoes scuffing through leaves, look up, wind shuffling leaves, no rhyme, just the rhythm of the time, gathering leaves just for inspiration in June 21. How nice that you do those things. I always felt a bit funny writing poems and my thoughts down, but oh gosh, now I go, isn't that lovely that I did that? So there we go. That's that was just a little bit of a story. So I did gather up a piece of that fabric, and I still just think it's a bit dark. With the eco dyeing, depending on the time of year, the chemicals that you add, they just can go a bit dark. Oh, it's not so bad on the back. I didn't look at the back. I just thought that was a bit dark, but maybe. Anyway, I'm plotting and planning here. This video will just be completely the planning stage and a little bit of fabric painting, because I thought that I would paint some autumn leaves in those bright colours. I've just got a piece of this fabric that was left over from the previous journal page, and it was like straight up the colours that I wanted, so I was like, yay, good. But I'll just trim that little bit off there. We don't need that. Keep that scrap bowl just handy. I'm just using my scrap bowl so I don't get all those bits all over the place. I neaten up that edge. But I thought that made quite a nice border for here down the side. So I think I will just, making sure that I'm on the screen. Goodness gracious. Okay, there we go. That red line on my board should be telling me that that's where I've got to be. Sometimes I push it and yep, I'm off screen. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. And I found that nice piece of French General fabric with the red birds on it too, and I quite like that. And that might even end up going along the bottom. I'll see how we go. I've just got my page ready, folded. You know, I pre-prepped a lot of pages with some Pellon on the back, some calico just as my backing fabric. But I know that this is the page for the rest of to fit in my journal, because I'm making a concertina, but they'll be joined at the edges, the concertina. This is a little bit of Tim Holtz fabric that I actually thought, yes, it's in the colorway. I might write some words on it. Thought that was already pre-lined. That was handy for me. But I quite like the colours in there. Now I'm humming and hawing on this piece of eco-dyed fabric. I like the purple in it. And yet this side is quite dark. I don't know now if I want it on here or not. You know what, we just have to sometimes have a little bit of a play. But I thought the birds in the tree were quite cute. They just sort of fit the colour really. Yeah, that could probably fit over there. And that might be as simple as this page gets. What I want to do now, and I'm, you know, just going to leave it sitting here, looking at it, thinking about it while I paint the leaves, because I've got another piece of fabric here that I did think about adding into the mix. Just a piece of hand-dyed fabric really, not anything in particular, but it might make a nice border piece. Maybe it will. It might do. It's just really bringing in all those colours of autumn, and so it's not anything in particular page other than that the colours are there. All right, let's leave that one there, and I'll think about that one. It's going to be out of your vision, but never mind, you saw what I did. I'll bring it back. What I did start to do, and then I thought, oh, better turn the camera on so that I can share this with you, is to sketch out some of the Japanese maple leaves, because I had a vision of them sort of cascading down the side here as they would have fallen out of the tree and all over the ground. The birds liked the seed pods. The white cockatoos would come and pick at they had a funny sort of like spiky sort of nut thing that was the seed pod, and you just happened to walk under them at the wrong time. Oh gosh, they were like very hard. These leaves have a centre point, just checking, where the shape of them comes out. This is a fade out pen, or you know, heat erasable pen, that I'm going to use just for the sketch part, because I will get rid of those lines. I don't want them to stay there. I'm going to use my Inktense pencils, because, you know, these aren't all completely separate. It's the one leaf. But just to get the shape, I thought that I could, you know, start from that centre point. This is just a piece of old doily that actually had been starched quite nicely, and I just cut bits of it out and used it. I've stamped on it and done all sorts of things. I'm going to be disappointed when it's run out. And but it's lovely linen, and I quite like the colour of it, so I just thought that I would, yeah, have I got enough petals on this one? Petals. Well, that's how this leaf is. Do I want another one? 3 is always good, isn't it? Yeah, let's stick with 3. That kind of fits. And I thought in my head that I would colour each one differently. So I've got my Inktense blocks here ready to go. I've got a painting little board and protective plastic so that I don't get it everywhere. Inktense blocks are just calling me in those autumn colours, so this is what I'm going to be doing. All right, autumn leaves here. That's a bit annoying, but I just don't want to cut it off yet. It's you know, it's just there. All right, I've got a water brush somewhere here, and I've got a little china palette that's still got some paint on it, a water spray, because what I like to do is activate the blocks before I get started. And so I'm going to go for these burnt colours here, including that purpley colour. I'll add some yellows, and I'm making it up. I've got no picture in front of me other than that little photo. Whatever happened to it? Put it away tidily. So yeah, these are the sort of colours that I'm actually going to be working with, because I think they're very true to how the tree always looked. There was just one moment when the tree was filled with orange leaves and red leaves, and the sun would hit it. The sunset rose behind it and then set on, you know, facing from our house towards the tree, and it just looked like it was on fire. It was absolutely stunning. I miss those things, but anyway, that's all right. We've got more, well, we don't have room for that size maple, just for a start. Here, where we are now, might have just wet that up, I think. That's probably just sitting there waiting for me to use, although there may not be a lot of colour on it. So what I might do is just add a bit more in the reds. Yeah, that looks a bit better. That looks a bit brighter anyway. And, ooh, very wet. Okay, let's try and dry that off a bit. These water pens, either the water pumps out of them or it doesn't. It just doesn't seem to be a blooming rhyme or reason with it. All right, yeah, that feels a little bit better. I just find that if I'm, you know, painting with it too wet, I don't want it to bleed really outside of that. While I'm going to cut them out, I'm not going to cut them right up against the line, because I don't think that's probably going to work so well. Just using a little bit of orange. I don't know whether you can see anything of what I'm doing. I don't know how to fix that. Let me just have a quick look. Oh, you can sort of see. I'll bring you up a little bit, get a little bit more of a view. But yeah, you can see here already, see how that's actually bleeding into the next leaf. What I don't want that to do is do that outside the leaves, and there's every potential of that happening. I quite like this orangey colour a bit more than the red, so I'm going to give this one a bit more orange. Oh gosh, I just started talking. I hope you're all good. I'm trying to get some myself sorted about having some videos pre-made. So it's Saturday here, but you're not going to see this till maybe Tuesday. I'm not sure. I'm away for the week, going to Ballarat to Corinne's retreat, and it's all about Christmas for that retreat, which will be nice. I have been working on my Just Because quilt, and just right now it's autumn. Yeah, so I'm just switching gears. And what I found with the Inktense pencils is if you iron it dry, and you can iron them dry, there's absolutely no reason to, but it certainly makes them paler. So I let it dry first and then iron it, because we do want it to heat set. But for something like this, that's, you know, potentially never going to be washed, I'm not going to worry too much if it's not completely heat set. It's just yeah, I don't think it matters. It's really what I'm trying to say. All right, so I'm just adding a bit of orange and a bit of red. I could have probably cut these out of fabric that was the colour range, maybe out of some, I've got some dyed fabric that I could have maybe used, but I thought, oh, for this project I haven't done a heap of fabric painting for this journal, and I have done for another project that I'm doing, the Botanical Beauties. I've done a fair bit of fabric painting and I really like it. I like just sitting here twiddling with the paintbrush. You know, it's definitely my happy place. And with the rush of life, I just think it's nice to slow down and do something slowly. All right, it's getting there. I'm quite happy about the fact that I can actually get, you know, some different colours. I'm just going to put a little bit of brown carefully on the edges, because, you know, they die off there first. You know, they get those little crinkly bits. They really should be, you know, they should have more crinkles along the edges, but I think that for something like this, that level of detail is probably not necessary. Ooh, that was like a big lump of the stuff came off. It's just because I've softened it, you know, with the spray, but it just helps to get it activated a little bit quicker than just doing it with a wet brush. I can just get a bit more colour, a bit faster. Slowly, slowly, I've got a little bit of bleed here and I've got a little bit of bleed here, but that's all right, because, you know, it could be a bit of shadow. There's a little tiny weeny bit there that you probably can't even see. But it's just the palette. I probably made the palette too wet. Ooh, I'm nervous of that bit now, because when they're coming down, they have these really red stalks, something like that. These little bits there, they come off the branch, off the main branch, and they have a little, yes, but they're quite red. That's where I was going with that. This is a weeny bit wet, so that's all right. the black line will be gone, and then I'll make a bit of a decision as to whether or not I will replace it with maybe some permanent pen. I haven't quite decided on that one yet. All right, I want to have a bit of a yellowy one, so I'm going to add a bit of yellow, and I want a purpley one. So they're my autumn colours, reds and yellows and purples. Yeah, that's a pretty good colour. I didn't bother to clean the brush off when I dipped into the yellows, so it's kept a bit of that, created that orangey colour. But what I'm going to do in a minute is clean my brush off, because I do want it to be a bit more yellow than it is for some of it. You get a bit too much water. This linen just like goes, soaks it straight up, grabs that water and runs with it, literally. All right, I've got a jug of water here. Just going to clean off some of that red, and a paint rag. I keep a paint rag because with just a nice piece of soft cotton, because you might get a nice bit of fabric that you want to use. I'm going in for some yellow now. Can you see me? And this colour in here. I've activated it, the water that's in the reservoir of the brush. I just gave it a bit of a squeeze. Shouldn't have been quite so heavy-handed with it, because the other day I was doing some painting and the water wouldn't come out of the and it's just flooding out today. Crazy. But if you start in the middle and work your way slowly out, or let the paint work its way out, then you're less likely to get too much of that over bleeding on, outside the shape that you're wanting to hang on to. So yeah, I was telling you that I'm going away, and this morning was all about getting the housework done, and just leaving the house tidy is something I like to do. And I've got dinner organised. It's not cooking, but it's organised. I know what I'm going to be doing. And I want to make some pumpkin soup, because I've got a big piece of pumpkin and some extra veggies in the fridge that I thought it's not going to last another, we're not going to be home for a week, so they're going to be less than optimal by the time we get home. So I thought if I make soup, I can at least freeze that, and that's good for when we come home. So that's a bit later. Yeah, it's like I feel like I've got 100 jobs on today. I was packing some goodies to take with me on my retreat, and in the process sort of tidying up my table. Now I've created a giant mess again because I've got everything out, thinking about this one, because yeah, I did start to think about it. I thought it'd be really good if I could get that done, but anyway, I am. So look out. I wasn't completely sure that I would, and here I am doing it, so that's good. I don't know when you'll see it, but it'll happen. It will happen. My husband's coming in the door, so I'm not sure if he's going to talk to me. No, he's not. Cool. All right. We can keep going here for a minute. Just thought I'd put a bit of that red in the middle there, just as a something. They do have veins, so I shouldn't forget those. The black line is probably distracting a little bit because I keep forgetting that that's going to get ironed out. So I need to think about veins on this reddy orange one. Now that everything's calmed down, I might add a bit more paint to that. I think it can cope. The weather has been crazy. We have had warm weather, bare arms going on here. Warm weather for the last couple of days, but with that, thunderstorms and rain, and I've just noticed that it's clouding over again now, and you know, I washed all the towels yesterday, so they're blooming well sitting on the line, and they're probably still going to be. Goodness. Anyway, I feel like I want a bit more orange in this one. Yeah, keep the yellow, I think, on the tips. I think that looks a little bit better. All right, I'm going to head into the purple range here. Goodness knows what that's going to do to the story. It's but I really want that colour in my palette of autumn colours. I love the colours together. So I thought what I might do is use it. Oh, yikes. With the veins. I do want to iron it because I want to get rid of those black lines. So I'll do that in a minute because that'll give us a bit of an idea on where we're headed. All right, so I'm just going to shove you up a bit. Oh yeah, you're still in my, on my camera screen, so that's good. All right, this one's not going to move at all. Funny, isn't it? The other one was like soaking wet, and this one isn't. Let's just get it in there. It's not going to hurt to have a bit of that ready water in there. Now we're cooking. Now it's moving. Yep, here comes the rain. Bother. And those towels are still out there. There's no way they would have been dry because they went out last night. Or they went out later in the afternoon. We probably forgot about them. And then we got a massive thunderstorm, you know, just after tea. And that was that. Down came the rain, and I thought, oh, they'll dry today. No, they're not going to dry today. I have to get them out on the airer because going away, I'm not leaving towels on the line for a week. Apart from anything else, the birds will have a field day with that. We've got this one little bird. I don't know if you can hear this tap, tap, tapping noise. No idea whether it's coming through the sound here. It's driving us mad. It's a silly bird that has decided that it's got no other purpose in life at the moment than to tap on the window. And if it doesn't tap on one window, it goes and taps on the other window. So it's tapping on our bedroom window. Well, it woke us up this morning. It was tapping so loudly. And then in the kitchen window, it's doing the same thing. So one's at the front of the house, the bedroom's at the front, and the kitchen's down the side. But it's so annoying. And, I thought I was trying to get bugs or something. Well, there's no bugs on the window. And it's just this constant tap, 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 tap on the glass. I don't think it's doing anything. I think it's just got nothing else to do. It's bored or something. Crazy. But it's just becoming annoying. And so my husband got the hose out before and squirted it, thinking, oh, that might chase it off. No, it didn't. It just came back. It might have stopped for a little while, but not very long. Crazy bird. Crazy, crazy. Good. All right, well, I'm working away on this. I'm not probably going, I'll just keep going with this video while I'm doing this. Hope it's not too boring for you, but if you haven't had a go at fabric painting, there are other brands of watercolor paint that you can get that's perfectly usable in children's sort of watercolor paint, student grade blocks of watercolor from all sorts of places that don't have the price of the Inktense Derwents. I've loved Derwent pencils all of my life when I was a young girl, and I certainly was interested in art. Our newsagent, the paper shop, sold all sorts of things, including Derwent's singly. And I remember, saving up my pocket money and buying one pencil at a time because, Santa had brought me packets of them. But there's always that other colour that you just want. And I've never grown out of the habit of buying things singly. It's funny, isn't it? I've bought lots of pencils and crayons. I bought this set in a tin because you couldn't buy the you can't buy the sticks, these things, whatever you call them. Inktense blocks, get the word right. My brain left there for a second, but it returned, thank goodness. You can't buy them singly, but I certainly bought the Inktense pencils singly, just by the colours that I like. Probably, fairly expensive way of doing it, but I don't have to put up with, 25 colours that I never used. Some of the colours on here I've never used, ever, and probably never will. But, as I said, you couldn't buy those singly, where all of my pencils, purpose bought, and I've used them and will continue to use them. And other crayons that I've bought, different brands of things. Just quite like buying them as a single thing. One of the suggestions I'd make is when you're painting on particularly fabric that's taking this colour as it's grabbing it, be careful what you're leaning on, because if you need something to absorb it, because if you're just doing it on plastic and then you move your fabric, it can soak up if the moisture's just sitting there. So just be careful of that. I think I want a bit more browny colour, which I'm sort of going for this one here. I have to just squeeze some water out and then whinge about it. But I quite like that colour as well. It's a browny purple. It's nice. Thought that this it's really wet now. There are just times you just got to go slower. But I thought that would be all right for the veins on this one. Oh, just went off on my own little daydream then. Sorry. Did you think I'd gone? I forgot what I was doing. Slightly the bottom of the screen there. Thinking about my own little things then. Don't know, couldn't even remember what I was thinking about. I forgot that you were here. And that's what painting does. It just, gives you a chance to relax into it. If you've not got a time frame, just have a play. If you don't like what you do, don't use it. No, that's my sort of thought about it. If if it doesn't turn out exactly how I really wanted it to, I actually like that colour. How good is it on the? I like what it did there on those pointy bits, and it does that on the tree. It gets these those little pointy bits die off fairly quickly, and I think that actually looks quite good on there, even if I do say so myself. It's always good when you do something you like yourself, isn't it? So I'm going to do it again. But they do have that pointy bit. When I was eco-dyeing them, in order to make the dyes work, you need to soak them in a mordant alum or, iron water or something, and that's too complicated to go into right now. But without those things, the colour doesn't take as well, but they make them go black, and that's the part that I get disappointed with, because I'm just going to see what that looks like on the end there. It's going to bleed because it was a bit wet. All right, making a major production out of it now. I'm going to get the iron and get rid of the black lines because they're annoying me slightly. I collect these old china plates from the op shop. This one was $2. I don't know what you use it for. Snacks of some description, pate or dip or olives, or they make great pallets because it just washes off. And $2 pallet is all right to have. All right, I'll get rid of that for a second and hit this with the iron that is conveniently already turned on. It's getting rid of that black line helped. I've got these pointy brown bits on the end there, but it helps you see where you've been, what you still might need to do. I've got a brown marker. Is this a brown one? No, this one. No, black. It says black. Black. It says black. I do have a brown one, which says sepia. It's a 0.5. The pen is a uni pin, fine line water and fade proof, 0.5. The colour is sepia. I've tried it and it doesn't run on fabric, so I'm happy to I thought maybe making it a bit sketchy might actually be something that I do like. But I'm not going to have those lines go in as far as I made them before. But I did my previous page a bit sketchy, the bumblebee, and quite liked the idea of it as something that might be in a field notes journal. I always aspired to and admire and aspire to the people that get out there with their little bag and their stool and their paints and their pens and their whatever, and stitch, you know, on pair, plain, out in the air, however the saying goes. And you know, I always would have liked to have done that. Should still, haven't yet. Maybe I will one day. But anyway, I figure that Edith did it plenty of times. Edith Holden, who has helped to inspire. Yeah, sort of gets that little dip in there then, doesn't it? All right, I think this is where I'm headed. Don't know about the brown tips, but never mind, they're there now. They go brown when they fall off the tree. They certainly don't stay yellow. In fact, once they hit the ground, that's pretty much the end of them. We used to fill up all our garden beds with them. We had quite a few garden beds because it was a big garden. Number one, to be able to cope with 2 massive full-grown Japanese maples at the front, and we had one down our sideway outside our kitchen window, which was gorgeous. And it wasn't quite as big. I didn't have as much room to grow probably, but anyway, we used to fill up all the garden beds till they were just, you know, I don't even know, not a foot deep, but probably close enough, 12 inches, you know, because there was just so many. They'd get all over the road, and it would rain, and sound like I'm whinging about them. We did kind of whinge at the time because they just made a whopping mess. And you could bet your bottom dollar that every time they dropped off the tree, it would rain. So then, or it'd be really windy, and, you know, they'd blow up the driveway and into the carport and all over the paths and all over the road. Then it would rain. And then the poor neighbours walking up and down the roads, you know, slipping and sliding. So we'd have to get out there, and we're constantly cleaning up leaves for, you know, never lasted very long because once they were down, they were down. And pick up the silly seed pods that the birds threw out because they were like dynamite if you stood on them. They were so hard. They didn't break down in compost or anything. They just became like almost rocks. Funny things. But they were pretty magnificent. One time the kids were climbing the tree, and they used to climb it all the time. And of course one day my son and his mate, I don't know, they were young, 10 or something, climbing the tree. The neighbour across the road rings me, goes, "Oh my God, do you know the boys are up the tree?" And I've gone, "Oh, yep." And he could see them from his place through his window, see the boys up the tree. How funny. All right, that's I think, you know, they're the colours of autumn. They're going to play on this page here with everything else. I think they'll be good. I'll probably add a bit of stitch. I think in my head, I'm kind of thinking that I wouldn't fussy cut them right up against the line, right up against the paint, because I think that's just, you know, I'd probably have nothing left. But giving them a bit of space around them might protect them, number one. So I just gave it a light iron, and pretty much because I wasn't soaking the water, it's dry. It's not going to bleed or do anything anymore. But yeah, I think this will actually look all right. It'll fit the brief with the colours of autumn. guess it's, you know, the leaves changing colour. It's our first signal, isn't it, that autumn's about to start and be with us. And that change is happening. Same with the blossom. You know, once the blossom starts appearing, those little green buds, you know, we know spring's going to be on its way, and there's the next change. We go into daylight saving tonight. I think we do. I actually have to doubly check that. I think it's tonight. And so, yeah, we spring forward tonight. So that means we'll have lighter nights, although it has been getting a bit, it's staying, you know, it's not, it's lighter later. I don't even know how I'm telling you that. You know, in winter it's lighter earlier, and now it's staying lighter a bit later, but it'll become lighter even later. It's always funny on those first few days. It's so light that you get a bit of a shock when it's like 6 o'clock at night and you go, oh my gosh, it feels like about 3. That's all right. We've got that now till, I don't know, March, I think. I think we go from October to March. I never remember. Just wait for the news to tell me. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking would happen. Put my birds in there as well. They can pop in because I quite like the colour of them just for a start. Maybe that should go over there because I didn't have enough of that to cover it. Oh, you know, maybe that doesn't even need to be a feature. Maybe I can. All right, well, there we go. I'm nearly done. I'm definitely going to stitch it. There's no doubt about that, but this is certainly the start of my background. I will probably invisible stitch it down so that I've got a bit of a base. I feel like I need a bit more of that, you know, of that there. Do I have a bit more of that? Oh yeah, I do. Cool. Oh, what a shame. Wait on. Does it need it going all the way around? Maybe it does. Let me just see. I'm going to have another go at this. Pop you in there. And you there. Well, that's still adding a bit of that autumny colour, isn't it? So maybe I can hang a leaf over the edge here. Or maybe I can paint another one. Maybe I can paint another one. No, 3's enough. All right, well, I think you can see where I'm headed. I'm going to whiz off for a second. I might come back, but I'll see how I go with where I get to and what I want to show you. Oh, I liked that bit too, didn't I? Well, that could still happen. Oh gosh, can you even see what I'm talking about? No, it was that bit there. I forgot that I was thinking about that. All right, I'm going to go and have a little play and I'll come back in a minute. All right, or maybe, yes, maybe I will definitely come back and say goodbye. Well, I've decided not to do any more necessarily now. This is going to give me some work to get on with. You've got a vague idea of where I'm going. But the other thing that I just wanted to recap on was my cover, which is going to hold all the pages. I'm still working on my thoughts around what I'm going to do. So all the pages will actually sit here and spring out from there. They will concertina from the side, which will leave this open. So my thoughts about that is adding, you know, a list of all of the prompts. And I thought I might go back to this Tim Holtz fabric. simply because it's got some lines. It's going to fit in the colour scheme. And I thought, I don't have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, 12, but I could write the words in here, use some of this just as a page, a piece that might sit on that inside that back cover. Quite like the idea of that. I think it's going to work there. Yeah, they're my thoughts. But I need to get cracking on doing the edging bits. I've got some bits here that I think I'll use, you know, to put around, adding all the colours, but I don't know what I'm going to do on the back. And I don't know if I'm going to do anything on the back. It's nice fabric. Again, I think it goes. I might do a bit of stitching into this just to add a little bit of texture, which I've done on the front here in tiny little bits that might be obvious, may not be. So I'm thinking that I might do the same for there. Whether I use all of these fabrics for the, you know, for the edging bits, I, you know, they're pinned because I don't really know what I want to do. But anyway, I'm just thinking about it. So, all right, well, that's me. I'm going to say goodbye. Love and leave you for now with my thoughts for my autumn colours. I'll get some of this done. I'm not sure when because, like I said, going away for the week. So I've got a lot of things to do in that week, a lot of stitching. But this video has probably gone on long enough. So I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you all have a lovely week. I'm looking forward to mine. I hope this video finds you all well, and I'll look forward to chatting to you again. Bye for now.